second here and let everybody join, and then we'll start our first real official chat. I'm excited. Here and let everybody join, and then we'll start our first real official chat. Perfect. I think we're going now. Only going to take us a second here. We'll get everybody on here for our first weekend chat. We're going to do an MLB Prize Giveaway as well. So I'm excited for that. And it should be a good time. So just hold on with me and we're going to get started here. Just checking the chat, making sure everything's going good here. There we go. I'm getting the comments on. Looks like some people are joining us. So glad everybody's here for the first MLB weekend chat. We got a great weekend for baseball. Hopefully a rebound weekend for the Blue Jays, that's for sure. They're on a wicked losing streak, 7 out of 8. Going against Seattle, they've won 8 in a row. And on top it all off, we got Robbie Ray. That's right, and this is Robbie Ray, not the Robbie Ray at the beginning of the season, folks. This is the Robbie Ray that signed that big extension. That Robbie Ray, Mr. Tight Pants, that was pitching in Toronto. He's looking good again, and hopefully Alec Manoa can show his stuff, his Cy Young potential, and get on board. But it's going to be a tough series tonight, and it's a late one. It's on at 10 o'clock, so hopefully you got your coffee. I do. Because it's going to be a battle. That's for sure. As I said, we got Toronto and Seattle gearing up, and it's going to be a big weekend here. And if I didn't say this before, if you're looking at Robbie Ray in his last couple of starts, hold on here as I go to my stats for a quick second. His last 5 games, 36 innings, 3 runs, 14 hits. That's the Robbie Ray that was pitching in Toronto. That means he has an ERA over his last 5 games under 1. That's right. Whatever was happening at the beginning of the season, maybe it was just settling into Seattle, new territory, new catcher, finding that rhyme, finding that rhythm, Robbie Ray seems to have it. But if there is one pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays that I think can get this done, it's certainly going to be Alec Manoa. And as I said about Alec Manoa, I got a lot of feedback on a vlog I did recently and was talking about inning limits. And people said, well, there was no discussion of this. And that's something that I discussed if you actually listen to the vlog. Because what I said about Alec Manoa specifically, sorry, I'm getting comfortable here, Saturday night. What I said about Alec Manoa specifically, anyways, was my concern was he was rushed through the minor leagues to a certain degree, rushed through. And when he was brought up to the major leagues, he only pitched 18 innings in AAA. Now, they were, he was on fire. The Jays needed him in the rotation. Then he went on to pitch about 110 innings last season. So 130 innings is his max. Now, when he was in university, he did pitch a little bit higher, but that transitioned and got tighter from 130 innings pitched all the way up to excessively 200, maybe 220, 230 if they go deep into the playoffs. That's 100 extra innings. And that, to me, causes a great concern that Alec Manoa is going to blow out his arm to a certain degree. So, tell me I'm wrong. I hope I am. But these are the scenarios that cause Tommy John surgery. These are the scenarios that cause rotator cuff. I don't know what it's going to be, but I don't want to see Alec Manoa rehabbing with Nate Pearson. And it's almost like we're too late now. It's like we're too deep into the hole. Because ideally what the Jays should have done, and they have to a certain degree, I'll give them this, they kept him to 6 innings usually. A couple there he's been going a little higher. But he should have missed a start in maybe May. And another one in June. And maybe even one in July and August. And that would have given him at least 4 starts. So now he's only making 26, 27 if he's a top 3 pitcher, right? Because your top 3 pitchers pitch 32 sometimes. Your pitchers are usually 80 innings easily. And that's why Alec Manoa is going to blow by that. And that was my concern with Manoa. As I said, knock on wood, I hope I'm wrong. Because losing Alec Manoa right now for the Blue Jays might be the shot in the gut that kind of starts that trickle effect for a horrible season ending. and even more tear-jerking than losing by one game. Let me know if I'm wrong here. And this is a big thing for the Jays as I look at my notes. We got lots of things to talk about, and as I said, we're going to be doing an MLB Prize Giveaway. We got 4 entries, so as I said, we're new YouTubers, so we're still growing, so thank you, these 4 people, for getting in and answering. So we will do that towards the end. Anyways, back to my original point. There is no pitching depth for the Blue Jays, and this is something that's really been exposed to a certain degree. Remember, our pitching depth was Ross Stripling and Nate Pearson. Those were our 2 Blue Jays pitchers that we were going to call up, our insurance, our just in case, pull here for emergency. That's what Nate Pearson and Ross Stripling was. To be fair, Ross Stripling has answered the call. I know he's been shaky the last start. We're going to talk about that a little bit later tonight. But Ross Stripling, no problem, because we lost Ryu. Hyun-Jin Ryu will never suit up for the Jays. Thank you, Ryu. I always say that, but he's done. Tommy John surgery. He's probably not even going to pitch till the end of next season. By that time, the Jays are going to be like, nah, not happening. So, Ross Stripling immediately had to step in for Hyun-Jin Ryu. Now we had the Yusei Kikuchi. That's what they call him in the house here. Yusei Kikuchi. What are we going to do? Or Yusei Kikuchi, sorry. What are we going to do with him? Well, that was supposed to be Nate Pearson, just in case. Nate Pearson shut down with the lat strain. Might see him in the bullpen at the end of the year. We're not even sure what his command is. So Nate Pearson is out of the question. Now we're looking at like Casey Lawrence options. And this is where it starts to get scary because God forbid something happens to a Jose Barrios or what we saw in the game with Kevin Gausman. Knock on wood. Grateful that that was only going to be keeping him out probably till just after the All-Star game. I suspect. I haven't heard anything about him starting. If he has, let me know in the comments below. But that being said, if the Jays lose 1 or 2, there's not going to be a lot of room there. And this is where it gets scary. And this is where we're pulling our bullpen, which is already ranked 24th to 28th in all Major League Baseball. I mean, and no offense, our bullpen looks good and it's improved from last year in some respects, but not in the respects that we need to go deep into the bullpen. So this lack of pitching depth for the Toronto Blue Jays to me is very, very scary. And I know I'm sounding like a deep, oh my God, what are the Jays going to do? Don't worry about that. The Jays are still going to make the playoffs. Even if you look at the recent odds, we're still 93% chance of making the playoffs. We're soundly there. I know the American League is a little bit different than the National League. There's actually 8 teams that seem to be in the hunt. And Baltimore now in the hunt for a playoff spot? What is happening in baseball land? But you gotta love baseball, right? Isn't that romantic? Don't think Baltimore is going to make the playoffs. But, side note, I think it was like 1,000 to 1 odds in Vegas. So if we had $100, that's $100,000 in your pocket if you would have bet. But the Jays are securely in a playoff spot, and unless something horribly happens, they go way off the rails, the Jays will make the playoffs. It's not a question of playoffs, and this is what concerns me. I know we're going to get some strong pitching performances. I believe that, but is it going to be enough? Is that bullpen going to be enough to hold off the frenzy of another playoff team scratching in the 7th, in the 8th, and the 9th inning? I don't know, and I don't want to see another first-round exit like it was in 2020, even though 2020 really didn't count. So, the question is not, will the Blue Jays make the playoffs? The question is, how deep will the Blue Jays make the playoffs? And that goes into my next point of tonight, MLB trade deadline. So, Jays are going to make the playoffs, right? Yeah. Now, they're going to go deep in the playoffs? I don't know. So what are we going to do to get that done? And I think it's strong, and I was saying this before, even we were having some pitching woes. It is defense and pitching. That is all we need. We don't need the offense. I know a nice left-handed bat would complement the Blue Jays lineup nicely. I know there's been talk about Andrew Benintendi coming from Kansas City, but if you watch one of my previous vlogs, I said, nope, he is definitely going to the Mets. So that's my first $20 bet. Andrew Benintendi going to the Mets. Jays could get some bench player to come off, but really what the Blue Jays need is pitching, and it's becoming more evident now that they just need a good starting pitcher and a good one. and at least 2 pieces to go into the bullpen. That's what Toronto needs. And that's why I think we could look at some pitchers out there. And there's some interesting cases. You got Luis Castillo. I think the Reds are going to go a little high on him. Pablo Lopez, really high if you're looking there in Miami. I think the Pirates are going to have a bit of a frenzy when it comes to Jose Quintana because $2 million, only $1 million. So any team that's on a bit of a budget, who's close to making the playoffs, they're going to be calling the Pirates. You bet it. But there is one guy that I think the Jays really need to take a poke at, and that's going to be no other than Noah Syndergaard. And if I look at Noah Syndergaard and his stats recently, he's 5-7, but he plays for the Angels, so don't play into that. That's a joke, because it's really sad if you're an Angels fan. He's got a 3.84 ERA, 55 strikeouts, impressive only 16 walks. Now, there is some concern there. His fastball's down to 94 miles an hour from a 99 miles an hour. That's 5. But his walk rate, interestingly enough, is at a career best 5.5%. Very high in baseball. His command has been just phenomenal this season. So he's not like Kikuchi where he's going to be pitching all over the place, hitting people. He's getting the job done. That's why he's got that 3.84 ERA. He's going to be a free agent after the season, $21 million. So you're looking at it probably about $14 million, somewhere around there. If you pick it up, Toronto has that. So Toronto needs to get aggressive because there's not a lot of chatter about Noah yet. I don't know if the Angels are going to wait. It's just Angels baseball. But that's why they're going to wait a little bit. So Noah Syndergaard will heat up. But some interesting things about Noah Syndergaard and the Blue Jays. Like Verlander, the Jays were very, very, very close on signing him this offseason. Look it up, Sports Illustrated, ESPN. It was all over the place. So the Jays have already done their homework on this guy. They already have a relationship with him. And let's just talk about R.A. Dickey, because if you're watching this, I know that's exactly what's going to come up in the comments. That's right, because if you look at R.A. Dickey, you're going to think Noah Syndergaard. Why? Because that's who we traded away to the Mets to get R.A. Dickey in the first place. I won't go into the dynamics of that trade because in some aspects, Dickey was everything we needed him to be. Could have been better. And I guess maybe we knew, but who would have known that Noah Syndergaard will go out to be the pitcher that he was. That's baseball. That's how trades go. But needless to say, the Jays have that relationship. They have that rapport. I think they need to go strong. And I think it wouldn't cost the Jays a lot if they're willing to pick up all that money. We got Rogers. Well, we won't talk about Rogers if you live in Canada. But if they want to make us happy, spend the money on Noah Syndergaard. Spend that $14 million. He's off the books next season anyway, so it doesn't impact future spending. Noah Syndergaard would be an awesome replacement, I guess, for Kikuchi, because it would be probably Barrios, Gausman, Manoa, Syndergaard, and then Ross Stripling. I'm liking that. That sounds really good coming out of my lips. So I think that's what should be done, and I think it would only cost us Jordan Groshans and maybe another piece very low end. So it really keeps our farm system intact. And talking about bullpen pieces, there are a lot out there. My question about the bullpen piece, though, is are we looking for an 8th inning guy or are we looking for a 9th inning guy? Has Jordan Romano really been able to prove that he should be the closer for the Blue Jays? I mean, the guy's got great stuff. He was a Rule 5 draft pick, so it's almost like finding a diamond in the rough with Jordan Romano. But that being said, he's still learning how to be a closer for the Blue Jays. And if we got a dynamic closer for the Jays and coupled that with Jordan Romano and then had Adam Cimber for the 7th, I'm feeling better. We could still add another piece. And David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates looks real good to me. And you couple that maybe with Jose Quintana, it's going to cost us a lot. Now you're talking Gabriel Moreno territory, but something like that makes the Jays a playoff-capable team. And let's talk about the catching situation for the Jays. And this is a good thing for the Jays to be in. They talked about trading Danny Jansen, but as I said, him coming off that finger injury, I don't think he's going to have the playing time to really establish himself again. You're going to be selling low. And let's face facts here. If you got two people like Alejandro Kirk and Gabriel Moreno playing baseball, playing baseball at the level that they can, especially Kirk, made the All-Star, hitting well over 300, home run, power, everything you want in him, building that rapport with the starting rotation. And Gabriel Moreno, top 5 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. It's an interesting case to say you can't have them both unless one of them's going to be a DH. And I really don't like having the catcher as a DH. I like having a platoon outfield, i.e. that DH being a fourth outfielder so you can rotate them around. So that being said, the Jays are eventually going to have push come to shove with their catching situation, decide who is their future catcher. And let me know in the comments who you think it's going to be. Should it be Alejandro Kirk? All that raw power and potential that came out of nowhere, really? Or should it be that top MLB prospect that analysts are saying, Gabriel Moreno? And here, if we kept Alejandro Kirk and Moreno for the rest of the season and traded Moreno in the offseason, I say, why don't we go a little bit crazy and trade Gabriel Moreno for prospects? Yeah, prospects. Maybe single A prospects, but top prospects. And why do I say prospects? Because the Jays' window, really, for being a World Series team is going to be to 2025-2026. So if we got low A prospects, they'd be coming up in 2025-2026. And you're saying, well, what's happening in 2025-2026? Well, those are the years where if we don't sign big extensions, players like Vladimir Guerrero will become a free agent, Bo Bichette, Alec Manoa, Kevin Gausman, I can go on here with a few other players. So those are the years. And I don't know if the Jays are going to be the type of organization that's going to get that Guerrero extension done. I mean, that's going to be $400 million maybe. I don't know. It's going to be astronomical. So I could see it being where they control him arbitrationally and maybe go that extra year to 2027 and getting one extra year of Guerrero. But I don't see that 12-year contract coming out. And I don't see them rolling the dice on Bichette either. So if there is one player, though, that I see them doling out for the long-term contract, I think it might be Alec Manoa. So that being said, that's what could happen with the Jays. So 25, 26, that's when players like Guerrero, Bo are in their last years. And now the Jays are balancing, do they trade away those players for additional prospects to complement the players that I just said we traded Gabriel Moreno for that would be coming up? I don't know. Is that crazy? Let me know what you think in the comments below. So, as I said, tonight's going to be a great night. We got Seattle and Toronto battling it out. Alec Manoa, Robbie Ray. It's going to be a good night. I got my coffee going. I'm going to have a sip right now. We're doing the MLB Prize Giveaway. Just a $25 gift card. And there's no strings attached to this. I just send it out to you. If you want to give me your address, I'll do it. We can also find a way to do something digitally if you want to do it over email. Maybe I'll send you a $25 Amazon credit if you prefer that. Be $25 in value. We got 4 people, so if you're one of those 4, I'm going to announce that a little bit later in the vlog. And we're going to do something as simple as flip a coin, one-on-one, and we'll get it down to one big winner tonight. So hopefully you're one of those people. So we were talking about the Jays making a trade. Hopefully for pitching, not for that left-handed bat that I hear the rumors for. But talking about trades that I think will happen, I just did a vlog today. And, it was today, as I think about this. I do so many now, one a day, but no. It was the New York Yankees and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And what did I say? That the New York Yankees were going to go out and land Bryan Reynolds. And I know Jays fans, that might make you a little nervous. I think it would cost the Jays just a little bit too much. And I think the Yankees want to make that all-in push. I think they're going to ride out their starting rotation or maybe add a small piece, maybe a back-end starter somehow. But I think they're going to go big, empty out their farm system, and trade for Bryan Reynolds. They'll have him for the next couple of years. They'll still keep him comfortably around that luxury tax. They'll be able to bench Joey Gallo. And that's going to make the Yankees a serious threat to take on the Dodgers for the World Series. Yeah. It's going to be like a David and Goliath thing when the Jays and the Yankees, that they do line up with one another. And who would have thought that? Everybody thought that the Jays would be the powerhouse and the Yankees would be struggling this year. But the Yankees just seem to be having some sort of magical season where they just can't seem to lose. But I've seen hot teams before with records of over 100 wins lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's baseball. So, continuing on here, one thing that I would like to say about the trade deadline is talking about one team that I think is going to be very sneaky. A team that I think is going to be a little bit unexpected, come out of the blue, and maybe make a big trade come trade deadline. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has the flexibility to get this done. They have one of the best farm systems still in baseball. I think they just got Christian Bethancourt, a great complimentary bench piece, plays all over, has an okay bat, like around 250 right now, and cheap. So Tampa Bay is going to have the financial flexibility to get this done come trade deadline. And if you want to bank on one team being real sneaky, as they say in that Adam Sandler movie, it's going to be Tampa Bay. So mark my words. Now, I wanted to talk about MLB Expansion quickly. And we'll go on for like 10 more minutes, and then I'll do the prize giveaway. Because they were talking about what's the situation with Oakland and Tampa Bay specifically. And should those teams relocate or sell to other teams? And then there was option B. Should the MLB open up to 32 teams? That's right, another American League and another National League team. So, let's just talk about this. And I think the reasonable expectation for Major League Baseball is actually going to 32 teams. And why do I say that? I don't think the Oakland nor the Tampa Bay situation is going to be settled in the next decade, actually. Oakland is going to have a more pressing need to figure things out, and it's going to come down to their stadium needs. Looks like they've gutted baseball, but in a very complimentary way. The Oakland Athletics are like cockroaches. They're never going to go anywhere. There's a history there with Oakland. I don't see that team selling. I think there's going to be some sort of savior that comes in there. And I think Oakland's going to stay in place. Is it going to be a tough, gloomy time in Oakland for a while? You bet your ass. Pardon me for swearing. But yeah, Oakland, I mean, you see they get like 4,000 people for attendance. But they're going to have a kick-ass farm system. Oh, there, I'm cussing again. And they're going to be coming up. And you watch, in 2024, 25, and 26, Oakland's actually going to have a good team. So Oakland's not going to go anywhere. Tampa Bay's an interesting situation. Tampa Bay wanted to share half their season with Montreal. That was turned down with Major League Baseball. That's a shame. Montreal's in a frenzy. And we'll talk about the Montreal situation in a second. So I actually see Tampa Bay doing this quick relocate and basically shoving over to Jacksonville. And you'll see the Tampa Bay become the Jacksonville Rays. I don't know what they'll rename them, if it will be the same. But same state, so it keeps taxes, keeps that move, keeps everything kind of in sync for Tampa Bay. And I see Tampa Bay going to Jacksonville. So Oakland staying put. Tampa Bay eventually is going to Jacksonville. But as I said, before I went on this rant, sorry I'm stumbling here. Before I went on this rant, though, I said we would go to 32 teams. So who are those other two teams going to be? I think one's going to be Montreal. But Montreal, like Oakland, has a huge, huge hurdle to go over. They need massive financing, and they're trying to get that in place. And it's not massive financing to get an MLB team. It's the massive financing you need for a stadium. Because the Olympic, it ain't going to work. Even with a massive redo, it ain't going to be work. It's not going to work. It was never meant to be an MLB stadium. It may do during the Expos time. But if the Expos are honestly going to make a go in Montreal, they need funding. They need a new stadium. Thanks for the comment. Some people say, could you imagine if the Jays didn't make the playoffs and it was Baltimore? We'll talk about that in 1 second. Great comment. 1,000 to 1 odds. Wish I could go back in Vegas and make that bet. That being said, I think if Montreal can get the funding, the stadium, they'll get a team. And the last team, let's go into Vegas. Vegas has got the money. They wanted a team all along. I guess it will have to be an indoor stadium. Could you imagine playing baseball in 40-degree heat? Whew, that's burning. Yeah, Baltimore. Could you imagine if Baltimore makes the playoffs? As I said, they're only 4.5 games, and they sneak past Toronto. How scary that would be. The issue with Baltimore is they know they're a selling team, so they will trade pieces. I think Trey Mancini might even go from the Orioles. It's just going to happen. Maybe one of their pitchers as well. So that's going to make them a bit of a weaker team. And there is one team that the Baltimore Orioles plays a ton of in September. It's our Jays. So, as Jerry said in the comments, the Jays stink. That could be that opportunity, that's really weird, scary, heartbreaking opportunity where Baltimore goes above Toronto. But I think this is going to be Toronto's opportunity to really solidify themselves in the playoffs. But, goes back to my original point, doesn't matter if you make the playoffs, matters how deep you go into the playoffs, and I'm a little bit worried about the Jays there. So, talking about this, the big question is, as I said, I got to give some compliments to a couple Blue Jays players. First one is Tapia. Now, people were like, oh, I wish we still had Randall Grichuk. Now, I did some homework. Randall Grichuk's batting about 250. He's getting the home runs there. He's batting, basically, Randall Grichuk is copying who Randall Grichuk was in Toronto. And Tapia's copying who Tapia was when he came over. So the big difference there is obviously an ERA that's about 20 points higher, somebody with some speed, some flexibility, and a little bit better defense. I'm not really sold on either player, but I am sold on the Blue Jays saving $12 to $13 million. That's the difference between having those guys over this season and next year. The Rockies will be paying Randall Grichuk $10 million next year. We'll be playing Tapia probably about 7 to 9. And he's younger. So, if you're looking for a yin or yang, that's one certainly to consider there. So, let's talk about the MLB Prize Giveaway. I really appreciate all your support. I'm a brand new YouTuber. I mean, I don't have a set here. I don't do lights. I don't know. Maybe I got to talk to my kids, teach them how to do it. But I'm brand new, so I really appreciate everybody supporting me along the way. And one of the things that I like to do is just do a gift card once in a while to say thank you. I usually do once a month. So as long as you're a subscriber, you're good to go. So we have 4 people here who have a chance to win. 2 people answered on the prize vlog, and 1 person answered on the live chat, and another person answered on the previous vlog. And that's Henry K, Mike L, Lionheart 70, and Jesse C. So I don't know if you guys are watching, or you will, but you guys, what we're going to do, Henry K versus Mike L, Lionheart 70 versus Jesse C. And I got my good old toonie here, and we're going to flip one, heads or tails. We'll have a winner for each one. Those 2 will battle it out. That person, as long as you're a subscriber, is going to get that $25 gift card. And if Lionheart, Jesse C, Henry K, or Mike are not subscribers, when we do my next vlog, which is going to be Thursday, July 13th at 8 p.m., we'll just figure out a trivia giveaway then. So let's get it on here. First off, Henry K versus Mike L. Henry will be heads, Mike will be tails. We'll do the big flip. And it is heads. So Henry K, you'll be moving forward. Lionheart 70 and Jesse C for that $25 gift card. Lionheart, you'll be heads. Jesse C, you'll be tails. Big flip. And it is tails this time. So Jesse C and Henry K. And let's just keep it the same. Henry K, your heads. Jesse C, your tails. One of you 2 guys are going to win a $25 gift card. You can either have an MLB gift card, or we can do an Amazon transfer to you if you just want to give me your email. I know I get a little bit worried with personal info, and I guarantee you I'm not after any of it. Just wanted to give you guys a prize. So heads, Henry. Tails, Jesse. And the winner for the gift card Awesome Sauce, Jesse C. So, as long as you're a subscriber, Jesse C., I'm going to figure out how to get a hold of you. We are going to send that gift card your way. That's just a way of saying thank you for listening to me ramble on, to my vlogs, everything that I've said. Brand new YouTuber. So I really appreciate your support. Make sure you hit subscribe because we will be doing another gift card in the month of August. And the next live stream for me, well, that's going to be Thursday, July 13th at 8 p.m. We'll do that a little bit earlier. We'll be talking about the MLB trade deadline, All-Star game, Ohtani, what's going on there. Hopefully the Jays have ended their skid. Hopefully they take on Seattle tonight, and it's going to be one heck of a matchup. Alec Manoa and Cy Young, Robbie Ray, head-to-head in Seattle. So, fingers crossed, the Jays end that losing skid. I guess if you're a Seattle fan, you want to keep it going. As I said, Seattle's won 6. Toronto's lost 7 out of 8 their last games. So Toronto, we need that offense and a strong start from Manoa. Fingers crossed. We don't need fingers crossed. Come on, Toronto. You're going to get her done. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Check out my previous vlogs. Jesse C., I'm going to get a hold of you. You got a prize coming your way. Thanks, everybody, for your support. We'll talk soon. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.